This is a topic found in Unit 2. We are not just solving a quadratic equation, we're going to solve a quadratic inequality, and the goal is to first get it factored. So this one already actually is factored. We want to know what x values that when we plug it in here and here will give us 0 or a number greater than 0. So 0 or a positive number. Well, in math, the great equalizer is the number 0. So we first have to find what makes this 0. And factored form allows us to find that. So those are like our important numbers. Our important numbers are -1 and 3. Because -1 makes this 0, 3 makes that factor 0. So next we'll draw a number line to sort of sort out and make a visual representation of our work. And we'll put our two important numbers on there. Now these are the x values. This is going to be the output up top. And when we plug in -1 and when we plug in 3, we get outputs of 0. So I'm going to put zeros above there. We'll do our outputs in yellow. Okay, now I need to plug in numbers to the left of -1, in between -1 and 3, and a number greater than 3. And I need to see if it makes this positive or negative. So let's plug in a number that's less than -1. Let's plug in -10, okay, just to make sure we're pretty far away. If we plug in -10, we're going to plug in -10 plus 1. That gives us a negative number. And then we're going to plug in -10 minus 3 up here. Right, this is just our thoughts. And we'll get another negative number. When we multiply that negative number times the other negative number, it gives us a positive output. So plugging in a number in this interval gives us a positive output. Note, I only care if the value is positive or negative. I do not care what the value actually is. Okay, let's next try plugging in a number in between -1 and 3. An easy number to plug in would be 0. So let's plug in x is 0. If we plug in 0 here, we'll get a positive number. And if we plug in 0 here, we'll get a negative number. And if our overall output, when we multiply these two together, will be a negative output, positive times negative. So plugging in any number between here yields a negative output. Let's plug in a number greater than 3. Let's plug in the number 100. When we plug in that number, we will get a positive number here and a positive number here, and our total output will be a positive value. Now, why did we do that? We did all this because we want to know what types of numbers will give us that positive output. We care about the positive outputs because of this greater than or equal to 0. And those are positive numbers or 0. So the intervals we care about are this interval here of x values, since it gives us a positive output, including -1, because that gives us a 0 output. And then we also care about this interval here from 3 all the way to infinity. So our final answer is all the numbers from -infinity to -1 union 3 to infinity. Those are all the numbers that when we plug into this quadratic give us greater than or equal to 0. Here's our second example. We do need to factor this one first. So when we factor it, we'll have x minus 6 and x minus 2. And this is really the one that we're going to be looking at. Okay, when we do this, we need to find our important values, the values that make each one of those 0. Those are 2 and 6. So we're going to put 2 and 6 on our number line. And again, we'll have 3 intervals. These represent the x values down here. And this represents, up here, this represents our output. And when we plug in 2 or plug in 6, we get 0 as an output. All right, what I'd like you to do is plug in a number in each interval and see whether it gives you a positive or a negative when you plug it into this factored form here. Go ahead and pause the video and then hit play to see how you did. We should get positive, negative, positive. Okay, now to determine what the final answer is, in this problem we want all the outputs that are less than and not equal to 0, only less than 0. So in this problem, we're looking for all the negative outputs because negative is less than 0. So we care about the x values between 2 and 6, not including 2 and 6 since we don't want to include 0. So our answer are all the x values that are between 2 and 6, not including 2 and 6. This is a topic found in Unit 2, and I want to get a little in depth